Please welcome to the stage Redgate advocate and editor of SQL Server Central, Steve Jones.
Well, welcome everybody. I'm delighted to have you here at the Past Data Community Summit 2024. Can you believe it? 2024. I've been here 25 years. On behalf of the entire Summit team and everybody at Redgate, I want to welcome you. It's my pleasure to be back here in Seattle, and I hope you have an amazing week this week. Now, I'm Steve Jones. I'm an advocate and architect at Redgate. I've been doing that for 17 years, which seems crazy. I founded SQL Server Central, and I've been running that for 23 years. Well, this is amazing as well. But I've been coming here to the Past Summit since 1999. It's 25 years that I've had the opportunity to be here. Now, I'm going to take a few minutes before we introduce the first keynote of the day from Microsoft. Shireesh Thota, the Corporate Vice President of Azure Databases, will be out here to talk to you. But right now, I want to talk about you a little. There's over 1,700 of you this year from 46 countries. By my math, that's about 23% of the world, which is kind of incredible. From all over the world, we've come here to talk about data and databases and how we can do better for our organizations. We've got 5 talk tracks. We're covering architecture, analytics, management, development, and professional development. And we've got over 200 sessions from 200 speakers. This year, we had over 1,000 submissions to come talk. I didn't even get picked. So you've got some amazing people here, and I hope you take advantage of that. Now, every year, this is a highlight of my year. I get to come and see old friends. I get to make new connections. This year, we have 45% first-timers. So if you've been here before, if you enjoy this conference, please make them feel welcome this week. You say hello, let them know how amazing this conference can be. Connect, share, and learn. Now, PASS adopted this vision years ago, and it's kind of a great vision because this data conference is special. Everybody that comes here finds it warm and welcoming, more so than any other conference in the world. We get to come together, spend quality time, get to know each other, learn about the topics we care about, get new ideas, get inspired. And we get to do this across many different topics, tracks, platforms, and across different technologies. So from the historic SQL Server roots of past to Postgres and beyond, we've got the chance to learn and share with others. And whether you're a veteran or you're a new accidental DBA or somewhere else, we want you to come to the community zone, get together with others. The connections you make and the opportunities to talk to others are some of the most valuable time you will have this entire year. This year, we also have the Postgres Conference Seattle here. So they're co-located in the same building with us, and we want to welcome them. We know that many of you are dealing with multiple technologies. As a matter of fact, our surveys show over 26% of you have to deal with 4 or more database platforms, which is a lot. It's an incredible amount. So we've increased the amount of content at PASS beyond SQL Server. We certainly have more Postgres, a little Oracle, MySQL, other things as well. And we want to welcome the Postgres Conference Seattle people. They're sharing the expo hall with us. Some of them might be in the audience here today. So please make them feel welcome as well and chat with them about what's interesting in their world. Now, no matter how long you've been doing this business, right? I've been doing this for over 3 decades, some of you longer. We know that you face a lot of pressure. Most of us are being asked to do more every year with the same or less resources. And I don't know about you, but I still only have 24/7 in my week, and I don't want to give up any more time than I have to. We have to manage growing complex estates, both in size, scope, scale, new technologies. We even have new places where our data is being held. Have any of you heard of this lakehouse concept? Anybody heard of this thing? A few of you? They want to take our relational data and stick it in text files, and somehow that's better? Maybe, I don't know. We'll see if it catches on, but we have the challenge of dealing with that no matter what. It's still our responsibility to ensure that we build applications and systems that are more reliable and responsive than ever. And we have to keep them secure and compliant. Whether that's because of regulatory issues or reputational issues, we have to work harder. And at Redgate, we know this because we do a lot of research and interaction with many of you out there, both customers and prospects and others in the community. And we know that you have these challenges, that you have to deal with new technologies all the time, more pressures, more things to worry about. We run lots of surveys. Last year we ran a State of Database Landscape survey where over 4,000 people answered. This year we just closed it. And we've learned a lot about the world you live in and the world that we have to deal with in terms of data. One of the things we've learned is that you have to be better at your jobs. You have to learn more. We just feel that pressure from everybody. And many of you want to come here for technical training, you want to learn more. Lots of you also need to build up your soft skills. We need to be better at leading others. We need to be better at interacting with them and communicating and expressing what we need. I think especially with this AI stuff, we have to learn to communicate better. And we know that coming here to PASS, networking is incredibly valuable. This is one of the things that really helps us grow in our careers. At the same time, you can see 28% of people never get the chance to come to a conference like this. I think that number is actually low because that's just people that answered the survey. How many people in your organization never come to a conference like this or something else? You have the opportunity to come here and learn. And we know that's important because over half of you say that's the biggest challenge. Above security, above applications, above availability, everything else, you've got to upskill and learn more. So this week, we want you to take advantage of that. Certainly go to all these sessions, ask lots of questions, talk to other people, get inspired, get new ideas, new solutions that you might not have thought of before. And at Redgate, we know this is very important to you, and so we're trying to make sure that we give you a very wide variety of topics that you can look at as well. Now, I'm sure all of you have filled out your entire schedules. Anybody not done that yet? A few of you? In case you haven't, I've got a few things I recommend. Those of you who know me, I'm a big automation and testing person, so big on automated database deployments. I'm also big on load testing and ensuring that we have available systems. I think far too many people don't do this kind of work, so I would recommend those sessions. There's also this Fabric thing from Microsoft. Has anybody heard of Fabric? A few of you? If you're going to use Fabric, please don't just click around in the GUI any longer, right? Build a process, use version control, and have some automation in place so that we do things properly. Almost 2 decades ago, I had the opportunity to go to the very first Power Hour, and it was a fantastic session. Lots of laughs. My friend Ewan Garden, rest in peace Ewan, was there emceeing the thing. He was throwing shirts into the audience. He tried to throw some books. Fortunately, somebody stopped him before he threw them out there. But it was an amazing display of creative demos and a ton of fun. Everybody is just laughing. So if you get the chance, I highly recommend you go see that today. And then the last one, I'm a big work-life balance person, right? We work to live. Edwin Sarmiento is an amazing man. I always enjoy the chance to talk with him and chat with him. He's doing a session on Friday. If you get the opportunity, I highly recommend you go there. Now, we'll have the Microsoft keynote here in a few minutes. We'll talk about this AI thing. And then later on today, we'll actually have the Postgres conference. So those of you that have to deal with Postgres, you might want to go check out Joshua Drake's talk there. Tomorrow, we'll open the day here. Redgate will do a keynote on simplifying complexity in the real world. I have no idea what's in it either. They haven't included me at all, so I'm just as excited as you are to see this. And then Friday, I'm thrilled that we continue the tradition of the community keynote. So rather than selling that keynote to a vendor, having somebody else talk, we have somebody from our community. One of our speakers is going to get up there and talk to you about life in the database world. Ginger Grant is brilliant. She's going to talk about AI on Friday, so don't miss that. We have an app this year. If you haven't downloaded it, please do, but a lot of you have. Lots of stuff. The schedule is in there, all these things. There's also a little game portal. So if you go to the More and click Game Portal, you have the opportunity to win some amazing prizes just by scheduling sessions, going to do things. We've got $500 gift cards out there. We've got smart glasses for those of you that want those. A robot vacuum, digital camera, many, many more prizes as well. And I want everybody to feel welcome here. I hope you all believe in that we want all of our colleagues to enjoy this week. Part of this diverse community is that we all have different thoughts and feelings. We have disagreements and debates, but we should be professional about those things. Right? Treat everybody respectfully, the way you would want your son or your daughter or your mom to be treated. There's a code of conduct on your badge, but I know you don't need it. My friend Cara is in charge of all violations this week, but we're not going to call Cara. Everybody agree with me? Okay? We're not going to bother her. Everybody be a professional this week and enjoy yourselves. Now, I'm a big believer in housing, food, and education. I think those things are crucial to success in this world. And I'm delighted that PASS has established a scholarship program. As a matter of fact, we've established 2 scholarship programs. We have a charitable scholarship that allows database professionals from charities and nonprofits to come here. They don't have big budgets, so we are supporting them and giving them the opportunity to interact with other professionals. We also have the PASS Future Scholarship, where we have brought some university students or recent graduates and giving them the opportunity to interact with you as database professionals and learn what this industry is all about. So we've got a number of them here. If you meet them, please shake their hand and welcome them. But if you could give them a round of applause, it'd be great. Yeah. I'm thrilled that we're doing this. I hope this continues in the future. Now, some of you may have seen these little creatures around the convention center. They're on tables, chairs, different places. If you pick them up and take them back to their home in the community zone, Redgate is going to donate $1 for each one of them to the Seattle Aquarium Conservation Fund. Now, at Redgate, we believe we're part of the community. And so we want to have a positive impact in many ways. One of those is that we want to be water positive by 2030 and help the environment. And so we would appreciate if you would pick them up. Otherwise, we have to do it. But we're going to save these and reuse those in the future, so we're not wasting anything. It's just a fun way to kind of enjoy the week. So if you find one, take a picture of it and then bring it back to the community zone. This is an amazing event. We couldn't do it without sponsors. It's really important. So I want to thank our Sapphire sponsors, Microsoft and Intel, our Platinum sponsor, AWS, Gold sponsor, Google. But there's many, many more sponsors as well that are very valuable. They have some great ideas and great products. Please go visit them in the expo hall. Most of these vendors are just like you. They saw a problem and they tried to write some code to solve the problem. And now they want to have a solution that you could use. You never know what you might find, so please take some time to thank them. Spend some time talking to them tonight at the expo. Learn what they can do for you. Just over a year from now, we'll be back. Back here in this building, November 17th, 2025, so save the date. You speakers, get your sessions ready because I'm sure we'll have more than 1,000 submissions again. If you've never spoken before, go speak at your user group and come back and submit next year. We would love to see more of you speaking here. If you're unsure about how to speak, Ben Weissman is here. He runs New Stars of Data. He will help you. He has a whole library of things that will get you ready to speak. So please, think about doing it. And that's about all I have today. So I want to thank you very much for joining us today. And now I hope you'll enjoy the week. You'll connect, share, and learn with others. And you'll come back next year. You'll come back inspired, refreshed, and excited again. Now I want to hand over to Shireesh Thota and his team. They're going to talk about the innovation you can fuel with AI. So let me have a warm welcome for Shireesh.
Thank you, Steve. Wow, what a great lineup of topics for PASS Summit 2024. I'm excited to be here. You know, since I was on the stage last year, a lot has happened in this small space called AI, giving you and your companies amazing opportunities for competitive advantage. But today, this morning, I'm going to kick us off by starting with something more fundamental, your data. So who amongst you here has never been turned around in your data? Well, you know, with the data that's piling up on a day-to-day basis, with so many intelligent applications being born, it's easy to get lost. It's practically part of the job. And yet, it's this data that will help us find our way into the future. It is needed to accelerate our applications, our analytics, our insights that we can then use to steer our organizations. It not only helps us to identify a way to tackle the challenges of the present, but also those of the future. And I'm excited to show how you could use Microsoft's Azure to help you as a compass, to harness your data and guide your organizations. Now, unlike a traditional compass that's made up of pine needles and water that can help you get out of woods, a data compass that you can trust to guide your organization needs to be built on secure, powerful, and flexible infrastructure that evolves along with your needs. And you really cannot beat Microsoft Azure for that. It'll help you no matter where you're starting from. So today, I got an amazing team with me who's going to show a series of feature enhancements along with some amazing demos to help you get to where you need to go, no matter where you're starting from. We're going to look at 3 key ways that Azure can help you. in blazing the path for your organizations to migrate, to modernize, and to build new modern applications. But before I dive into the product, I want to take a pause. And I want to acknowledge how grateful we are to be here with you today. As these pictures show, this community has withstood the test of the time. You know, who amongst you here has been at the past in the early days, in the 2000s? Wow. How about 2010s? Really good number. And I've seen that 45% of you are new, so welcome to the community. In the last 5 years, many of you, look, like many of you, I've been a past attendee. I've been attending for a long time, and I've witnessed firsthand how this community has thrived and grown thanks to you committing and helping each other. So thank you for being here, making PASS a great event every year. And we at Microsoft are proud to support the data communities at PASS and beyond. Whether in person or virtual, these data community user groups have kept the conversations going about everything SQL Server, Azure SQL, Azure Databases, and all of Azure data. Today, we are 126,000 members strong and growing. We operate in 135 plus user groups across 37 countries. Those are some very impressive numbers. And when such a community gives us feedback, we of course take it to heart. Just over the last year, we have basically developed a lot of features thanks to your feedback and requests. Sincere, heartfelt thanks to each and every one of you for making us build great databases. So let's dive in to see what we have here to help in your data journey. Every journey needs to start somewhere. You know, it could mean that you're embracing Azure for the very first time. For some of you, it means that you're building new modernized applications just right now. It doesn't matter. No matter where you keep your data in Azure, our promise is that it's always going to be enterprise ready. That's largely true because all of our relational databases in the family are rooted into SQL Server. So they are enterprise ready no matter whether you run it on the ground or on the cloud. And of course, on top of it, Microsoft has got some amazing deployment options. All of them have a unified way with the languages and tools that you already know and love. So let's start on the ground with SQL Server 2022. Now, this has been an amazing release for us. The community loves us. There's lots of features here in terms of intelligent query processing, ledger, bidirectional failover with SQL Managed Instance, and many more. And this is a growing platform for us. We are very committed. And to prove our commitment to this growing platform, I've got some announcements here. Well, SSMS 21 is here. So this is a major upgrade to our beloved SQL Server Management Studios. We got some really cool features here. It is a through and through Visual Studio app. It has modern installer, in-app upgrades, support for 64-bit. And if that's not enough, we also have a personal assistant in the form of Copilot built into SSMS.
Trace, whoa. Hey, man. Oh, I got to interrupt your keynote. Sorry,
What's going on, man?
Sorry, folks. Important interruption.
Yeah.
So, Shireesh, there's a problem. I saw SSMS. The last couple of years, I know you've brought Anna Hoffman out here for a little competition. And the rumor is that she's won those matches, which is totally false. But so I saw SSMS.
Hold on. I was here last year.
Yeah.
She won fair and square.
I don't think so. Okay. Shireesh, can I take over this? Can I have your thing? Yeah. The problem is, Shireesh, I saw SSMS. So you know what I want? I want a rematch.
Are you sure?
Sure. Let's do it.
I'm going to call in a professional, a real professional.
Go for it, yeah.
All right, Anna, please come on over.
You really want to do this again?
Anna, you know what? I've been using SSMS before you were born. Of course I want to do this.
Bob, you know I lead the Tools PM team.
I don't really think that even matters. Anna, I've written 5 books. I'm an expert in SQL Server. You know what, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna make it easy for you.
Okay.
If you want to, you can even bring out with you somebody who even works on the tools. It doesn't matter.
You sure?
Sure.
Okay, well, in that case, I'm going to bring up Erin Stellato because she runs SSMS.
Wait, what?
Hey, friends.
You said anyone.
Well,
Hey, Bob. So you want to do this? You want to do a little one-on-one with SSMS? I mean, I've been using it as long as you have, you know.
you know what, doesn't matter, doesn't matter. Move aside, move aside. I'm gonna show you how real experts use SSMS.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you my expertise in navigating the tool.
Navigating.
So yeah, so what I've got here is I'm going to find my favorite script. So I'm going to go here. I've got some scripts and I've got, that's a lot of scripts. It's okay, I got it. My favorite script, great database names here, yeah. Where is it? Hey, you know what? I got it. There it is. I got it. Easy peasy. Worked.
That was sad.
What?
It was
No.
very sad. Can I show you some stuff in 21?
Fine. Go
Get ready
ahead.
to lose.
Yeah. All right. So, okay, so I've got this open, but the first thing that I actually need to do here is I need to finish this Git thing that I've got going on. We've got that back in 21. I don't know if you knew about that. So you'll notice here that I've got vertical tabs on the right, and I can just scroll down through here, and I got a transaction log script, no problem. And if I don't like the tabs on the right side, I can just go ahead and move them over to the left.
Did you see that?
And if I don't like them there, I can go ahead and put them back on the top, like they've been. And now I've got multiple rows if you like the multiple rows. But if you want to you know what you can also do? You can also look at them by color. You can sort them by color. And if you really want to go back to your old school, you can go ahead and just go ahead and put them back in a single row. But I really kind of like that vertical tabs on the right thing. It's, kind of like Edge, really easy.
Let's go. You're going down.
What is this? This is.
What do you think?
You know what? That's really interesting. Query editing, that's fun.
Yeah.
Folks, 5 books again. Expert in SQL. Let me show you my T-SQL skills on database compatibility here.
Here we go.
So yeah,
Oh,
I'm going
God.
to change a very interesting database name, compat level to 160. Oh, that wasn't the right.
You got to find the.
Yeah, no, I got to tell the sense.
okay,
I got to tell
yeah.
the sense. There you go.
Right,
IntelliSense.
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here we go.
Thank goodness for that.
So let me
for
go
you.
find the database that I need here, right? Let me go in here.
I need the name?
Crud, I need the name. Yeah, actually, yeah, you need the. No problem. Let me get the name. So no, just go into Alter
Did you learn
Database. Not a
T-SQL
problem. I
from
got
me?
it. Alter Database.
Somehow.
What was the name of that database? Oh yeah, Anna will not win this year. Yeah, baby, that's right.
A little
so,
petty.
Come here,
Little-
pat level.
Tiny.
Yeah, I got it right here. No problem. Got it. Doggone it. No, it's what I got to add. I got to add. Set. Yeah, no problem. Got it. Yep. Combat level done. Easy.
You know what you need, Bob? You need a co-pilot.
A co-pilot.
You do. You do, without a
have a
doubt. Let me just show you. Yeah, I got a co-pilot. You want to see it in action?
Sure.
Okay, let me get it going here. So let me go down and let me open up Copilot, and let me just ask, what is the compat mode for this database that I'm connected?
Just ask.
Just gonna
Just
ask.
ask?
Yeah,
Okay,
I don't have to
yeah.
write a query. It's gonna say, oh, it's 140. So okay, it's compat mode 140. Well, let me see what's the highest compat mode I can have for this version of SQL, because it has connection context, so it knows it's connected to 2022, and it's 160. But I'm not just gonna go change that willy-nilly. I'm gonna think about what do I need to consider if I'm gonna change the compat mode. And so it can give me a whole list of things that I need to consider. And I can go ahead and say, give me the script, right, to change the compat mode, no problem. And it will give me that, and I can take that script here once it shows up. I'm gonna copy that. I'm gonna go ahead and put it over in the editor window. And the other thing that I can do, because again, I'm not gonna change it in production like you did, is I'm gonna save this output here. I can save it out to a markdown file. Listen, we don't test in production, Bob. And now that I've got it in markdown, I'm gonna go ahead and open it, and I can open it right in SSMS, and I've got a markdown viewer here that I can take a look at.
Let's go.
You're so hostile this morning. What is happening here? Look, that's a fancy Copilot. It's really nice. It's a Copilot. Look, I know virtual log files. I'm doing a session today on virtual log files, actually. Does it know virtual log files?
Of course, Copilot.
Prove it. Let's see it. Yeah.
It absolutely knows virtual log files.
Okay, let's find it.
Okay, let me go ahead here and let me close this dialog that I have open here, because I don't need to look at this anymore, and let me just make this a little bit smaller.
Okay.
So it's a little bit easier to the output. You read the output here that we've got, and then I'm gonna go ahead and ask it, list the VLFs for this database.
not gonna
and
work.
Use the DMV.
It's not going to work.
Okay? So
We'll
we're
see.
gonna get the information that comes back.
Erin, what is happening here?
I don't really
You need
know.
a light? You need a light? Should we get someone up here? Can we get some help?
Erin!
Oh, here we go. We're good. We're good, we got it. Okay, so I can just go ahead and I can, it gave the output, right? So I can go ahead and change this, and we can see that we've got a list of VLFs here. What do you think, Bob? I mean, it knows about VLFs.
You guys have dark mode?
Oh, we forgot to tell you. We have dark mode.
Oh my God. Wow.
You know, Shireesh, you better come back out here before Bob starts crying.
Help us out here.
I don't know, man.
Dark mode, huh? All right.
Who won, Shireesh?
What do you think?
Well, you know, it went as expected.
Three-peat.
Yeah.
Three-peat. Three-peat.
I don't know.
So Anna and Erin, you guys have to let Bob win next year. Otherwise, he might not even show up again. Well, don't worry, Bob. We do have a consolation prize for you.
What?
There you go.
Thanks, Shireesh.
Thank you, folks.
Lucky again, man. I can't
Thank
believe
you.
it.
Love the dark mode. All right, you know, back to our data journey. Like I was saying, I know some of you are not ready to embrace Azure just yet, and that's totally okay. Some of you keep your data in other clouds. That's totally okay too. We respect and support your choices. And that's exactly why SQL Server enabled by Azure Arc is super valuable. And I'm going to show you how. Whether you keep your data in Azure, outside of Azure in your on-premises data estates, or on edge, Azure Arc extends all the goodness of Azure services to your data, bringing all that innovation wherever your data is. With Azure Arc, you can manage your SQL Server estate in an easy way. It gives you a unified central portal we could use to manage all your SQL Server licenses and inventories. For governance, we got Microsoft's Purview data access policies that will help you to control and govern your central estate, generating great insights. And for security, we got Microsoft's Defender support, giving you threat protection for all your SQL servers, including support for single sign-on with Entra ID. And one of the cool features that I'm very excited about is this preview of SQL Server migration assessments. And this is a great example of why Microsoft can be the center of your data journey. This gives you a migration assessment report by default on a continual basis, robust to your changing environments. This will help you about your cloud readiness, identifies the risks, even tells you how to mitigate them, and even as it identifies the correct configurations for your Azure deployment options, tailor-made, custom fit for each of your workload needs. So whenever the time is right for you, you know what it takes to be ready. Well, and when you're ready, Azure SQL gives you a huge number of deployment options. All of these are managed, intelligent, and secure databases. With Azure SQL, you could host a lot of your SQL workloads in SQL Server enabled by Azure VMs. You could migrate, modernize your existing applications through SQL Server Managed Instance. And you could build a modern cloud-native application with SQL DB. And we're going to look into innovations in SQL DB in a minute, but I want to spend a few minutes on the enhancements to Azure SQL Managed Instance. I'm excited to announce the general availability of the bidirectional failover link between SQL Server 22 and Azure SQL Managed Instance. And this is basically a cost-effective and an easy way for you to build a hybrid disaster recovery response. It opens up a lot of solutions. You could perhaps create a near real-time disaster recovery replica outside of Azure. And the set of enhancements in Azure SQL Managed Instance go far beyond disaster recovery. Now in preview is the next generation of general purpose service tier for Azure SQL Managed Instance, giving some amazing performance gains across your workloads without changing any price. So you're getting the same price, but awesome performance for general purpose service tier of SQL Managed Instance. So you get great price performance for your existing instances, allowing you to bring newer workloads and get a lot more performance gains. Some of the key characteristics include support for 32 terabytes. We are increasing the number of databases from 100 to 500. We're going to get you a great storage performance all across. And again, one of my favorite features, the ability to configure your IOPS. So those are amazing performance gains in SQL Managed Instance. I really hope you put them all to use. And speaking of performance, I want to highlight some of the cool things that Intel's been advancing and how they're fueling Azure Database's performance. Running on Intel's Xeon scalable processor gave us some fantastic results, both for SQL DB as well as SQL Managed Instance. We've seen that Azure SQL DB gets up to 68% more performance. SQL Managed Instances gets up to 5.5x more TPS. Well, when you combine the high-performing hardware of Intel with that of the robust Azure SQL databases, well, you get a really good platform that you could then build your intelligent applications on. So let's see how some of our customers are using these platforms. I want to talk about Scandinavian Airlines. SAS wanted to enhance their technical platform to enable their support for up to 30 million annual customers. They wanted to empower their developers, and they want to increase the operational efficiency. So they've chosen to move from IaaS to go to PaaS. So they've taken a bet on SQL Managed Instance and SQL Database. They've migrated around 20 plus critical applications, around 100 databases, using many Azure services. So thanks to the accelerators program in Microsoft, SAS was able to modernize rapidly. They got an improved security posture. They've thrilled their developers with things like streamlined DevOps workflows and many more. This all means that they can meet their needs of the customers proactively, mitigate disruptions, and most importantly, you'd love this, it's a seamless airline travel. I'm sure all of you can relate to that. So, I know that some of you are already on your migration modernization journey. You might be wondering, how do I build my next intelligent application? And that's really where we want to spend a little bit of time here. So before you go onto this journey, you have to ask the most important question. What kind of a database that I need to build my next generational intelligent application? You need a database that has built-in AI capabilities that can scale really well, so you could use these capabilities out of the box and not deal with so many third-party integrations, which is all fine if you want to enhance it, but you want these capabilities built in. And Azure gives you a huge plethora of options. We have a differentiated NoSQL database with leading vector search capabilities. We, of course, have an amazing Postgres solution. We encourage you to consider the PG vector, community extension, et cetera, and to build new AI applications. And we're going to look into both Cosmos and Postgres in detail in a minute. But for now, though, I want to turn my attention to SQL DB. To do that, I'm going to call on the stage my friend, Asad Khan, VP of SQL, to come over and show all the latest and the greatest that the team has been putting together to help you build the next generational intelligent application. Asad.
Thank you, Shireesh. Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. I'm really excited and thrilled to join you all here at SQL PaaS. But before we move forward, I want all to thank our organizers. In the rainy month of November, they exactly picked the 3 sunny days of Seattle. And this is not an easy feat. And by the way, they did it while sitting in London. So pretty amazing. A big thanks of applause for the organizers. Okay, so AI is transforming our industry, and it is indeed a great time for you to be a data professional. AI has truly accelerated the pace of innovation, and every company out there is trying to capitalize on that opportunity. But guess what? You as developers, as data engineers, as DBAs, and data professionals are at the heart of that innovation. And you are helping the industry move forward. Now, Microsoft has been leading the AI wave, but it is not just about bringing co-pilots or bringing our services which are AI-enabled. It is also about what are we doing in our data platforms, and especially in our databases, to help you write intelligent applications. And I want to start by talking about SQL. As you know, SQL has been our premium database, both on-prem and in the cloud. Today, we run more than 13 million customer databases in Azure. These are all fully managed. They can easily scale up and scale down. And they are versionless. The customer does not have to think about upgrades ever. Every month, we push new updates. But the more important thing is the data which is stored in these databases. This is the data that fuels the AI application. And you have an option to either take this data out and build AI application, or we can bring more AI to the core of these databases. And that's what we are doing. So I'm really, really excited and proud to announce the native vector support in SQL. With this, we are bringing AI into the core of the SQL, and you can now do embeddings right where your data is. And it is just not about the data type. It is integrated all the way from the app layer to the query optimizer, to the execution, all the way to the storage. And it is integrated with the rest of the services out there. We are also working on the indexing capability. so that we want to make sure that the semantic search is as powerful and as efficient as the relational search. Now you can write the applications which can switch between semantic search and the relational search based on your scenario. Investing in AI does not mean that we are not going to make progress on our core database promises. I'm proud to announce that our hyperscale, which is our premium SKU in the cloud, now support up to 128 terabyte or database size. And we already have a lot of Fortune companies whose database size have crossed 100 terabyte. We are also increasing the throughput for the log to 150 Mbps. That improves the query, the transaction rates. And we are doing the continuous priming, which helps a lot in terms of in failovers and recovery, where we have to rebuild the caches. So with that, let me invite Muazma, the Group Program Manager for SQL DB, and Davide on stage to show how the developers are using these capabilities to build intelligent applications.
Hey, Asad.
Thank you. So, Davide, after the SSMS dark mode, I don't know what we can do.
Yeah, and definitely it's more exciting than vectors, I guess, right?
But we got AI.
Yeah, we got AI, and to create some excitement, I get an application that checks all the boxes. AI, vectors,
Okay.
and a fantastic modern UI. So
Let's
let me
see it.
show you. So let's start with our Contoso Insurance. We're working with them to create a chatbot that they can use to give to their agent, so the agent can more naturally chat about the data, about the customer, so that they can keep the customer happy and loyal, right?
Great.
So let's start with a new modern UI.
Very modern.
Yeah, you like? There are emoticons?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So the agent is now chatting with the chatbot. He's meeting John Doe in the afternoon, so he wants to learn about anything about John Doe. And the chatbot is actually answering, gathering data from our structured data saved in Azure SQL. So now he's also asking some questions to make sure that he's got the right John Doe, and the chatbot is just answering. This is pretty cool because behind the scene, the chatbot is writing the query on the agent behalf and executing it against structured data in SQL.
So you are passing a natural language text to the database,
That's
and
right.
you're getting the SQL created for it.
That's right. That's exactly what is happening behind the scenes. So a query, in this case, a very simple one, is executed, and again, is the chatbot creating the query on its own. So what is happening is that John is making the request, again, in a very natural language. The AI model understands the request and generates the query to answer that request, going to fetch data from the structured data and the transaction data source that we have. So this is pretty cool. But let's go back to the user and see the user experience, see what is happening here. There is some bad data here, unusual, right? So the agent is understanding that apparently there is no communication history with John, which is very unlikely. So he called, because I was working with him to understand how the chatbot was changing the way the agent worked with the system. He then called the support to ask for the data quality to be fixed. So in the meantime that the support was working, she started to basically analyze the premium. Is the premium increasing? Maybe John Doe is worried about that. And after doing some analysis, again, with queries generated by the chatbot, and the chatbot helped to also identify that, yes, there was a pretty huge premium increase. The agent, she said, okay, maybe that's the reason why John wants to meet me. There is anything again in the history. And now there is the history data here. So what's happening?
So how does the chatbot even know that they can go and find this kind of data? Did you tag the data in the database like this? What's happening behind the scenes?
That's a great question. So let's start first of all to understand how we get data in the first place, and because now we have the history. So what is happening behind the scenes is that while the agent was chatting with the chatbot, someone in the backend updated the database in real time. It's a transaction data source, it's operational data. So they added new communication history, they fixed the issue, they added more claims, whatever. Everything happened in SQL, and the chatbot has direct access to SQL, so we are doing something we call operational RAG. So basically you are building your RAG on your operational data as it comes in. So no delay, you just have real-time data.
So the chatbot has access to the data as soon as it lands in Azure
That is
SQL.
very right, yes.
That's awesome.
So all fresh, as soon as the agent had the data fixed, he could start to ask questions. And what questions she was asking? Well, questions that could not be answered just using SQL, because this is unstructured data. We had all the history communication with the client about what was working, what was not working, about the fact that maybe the customer was not informed about the price increase, and those information are found thanks to something we call similarity search that now we can do thanks to vector search,
Nice.
Asad just announced. So the developer now, actually in this case a DBA, created a storage procedure called find communication history by subject that internally connects to OpenAI, transform the query into an embedding, a vector, and then use vector distance and new vector type to do similarity search. So we are moving from structured to unstructured data and putting all of this together in real time on operational data.
This is amazing. So you did natural language to SQL.
Yep.
You did semantic search with vectors.
Yes.
I do have a big concern though. We're
I'm
talking
sure.
about lot of personal and customer data.
Yeah, that's right.
What about security?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So good to have this slide here, because this is what actually exists in the database. So there are more than one Joe, as you probably would have imagined. But this is what I can see as an administrator. Then thanks to row-level security and data masking, the user, both the human one and the chatbot one, can only see the data they are supposed to see. So no data leakage, no issues with someone seeing or forcing the chatbot to extract data they are not supposed to see. Plus, everything can be logged in a message history table that is based on the ledger technology that we already have, and maybe we can even make it append only. So it's like recording a phone call, so you are sure that for compliance or auditing, you are absolutely fine and safe. So that's pretty cool, I think, all comes together here.
This is great. So you got the history and things done. So I'm set for my audits, and
Yep.
you already got semantic search and natural language
That's
to
right.
SQL. What about the agent that was trying to find this?
Yeah, so at the end of the day, the agent was quite happy about what he discovered about the customer. And the last question was, is there anything that can help to lower the premium? And right in real time, someone in the back office injected a memory in the chatbot agent about a cool new feature called safety score that can help good drivers to reduce the premium if they adopt this new program that has just been announced by Contoso. So this again is happening real time, operational RAG at its best.
That
Pretty
is
cool, I think.
fantastic. Thanks, Davide. I think you got everything covered that we wanted to look for. So
Yeah.
there you have it. Thank you, Davide.
Thank you.
So there you have it. With Azure SQL, you have today the familiarity of the SQL engine, the AI capabilities built into the SQL engine with the vector support and the indexes coming soon there, and with the built-in security that you know of. There's one thing missing in this block, and for that, I would like to call Aditya on stage to help me answer some of the challenges I have with this database. Welcome, Aditya.
Yeah.
So as in this case, for the safety score, the insurance company was looking for, they started with Azure SQL Hyperscale.
Okay.
And they started with 0, right? They started with a very small database. Now the database is growing, and the safety score feature that they just talked about, that's what the agent wants to build. And with this device, you will get like millions of records coming to your database, and this can even go to like trillions of records. Do you think Azure SQL Hyperscale is ready for that kind of scale?
Of course, Muazma. Hyperscale database with a maximum databases of 128 terabytes. Your data grows as, if hyperscale database grows as your data grows.
Yeah.
Okay, and you can see in the DB Watcher right now. And how many rows you just said?
Trillion?
Trillion? Okay, you have been there in the hyperscale database for a while. Let's see how many rows you have there.
Let's see.
SP space used, tracking data.
And this is the same database.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, that's a lot of zeros.
Those are 12 zeros after 1, which is a trillion rows.
That's awesome. So it can grow as the data grows. That's great. So
Yeah.
the growth is covered. I have another challenge. So I have data coming from multiple sources, as Davide was talking about.
Okay.
It's conversational history. It's coming from the safety score device. All of that I wanted to get inserted into this Azure SQL Hyperscale really fast, so I can get to my actions on the data really quickly as well.
Yeah.
Do you think it's possible?
Yeah, hyperscale has got your back. Just before I got onto the stage, I looked at your data ingestion rate. Thanks to 150 Mbps we just announced, your data is zooming through
Nice.
effortlessly. which means faster data insights within no time.
You got it covered. That's great. One last concern for you. Hopefully that's the last one.
Okay.
And in this case, since I have this database both for reads and writes, my application is writing to that, and I have several users who are accessing this data real time as well. So how does that work for Azure SQL Hyperscale?
Yeah, Hyperscale is purposefully built for that, right? So with the shared data architecture, you can isolate your reads and your writes, which means you have 20 plus replicas which can take your reads, and you have your writes which is coming to the primary replica, and that performance will not be affected. Also, with the continuous priming that we just announced, your HA replicas will always be hot, which that means just in case of a failover, your performance will not drop whatsoever.
So read and write are completely isolated between them.
Yep.
Awesome. That's great. Thanks, Aditya. That was great.
Thank you.
So I would like to call back Asad. What do you think?
Thank you, Muazma, Davide, and Aditya. It was great to see how we were able to build AI and on top of hyperscale. So one feature which is heavily used in all of SQL SKUs in Azure is elastic pools. Because if you are building a SaaS application, if you have hundreds and thousands of databases, it becomes super hard to manage both the manageability of the database itself and the cost associated with it. And now we have GA'd the elastic pool capability on hyperscale. And across the customers we interviewed, we are already seeing how they are taking the benefit of elastic pool and saving up to 60% of their cost when it is about running their databases. So just to recap, why AI is important for us and for you as a developer. When your data is sitting in a relational database like SQL, you already have the familiarity of the language. And once you have the AI right there, your data does not have to leave. It is secure. You can keep using the same row-level security, column security, RBAC, ledger. All those capabilities are already there in that engine. And then you don't have to worry about the scalability of that database because we have things like hyperscale to support up to 128 terabyte. So now it's not that we are only investing on the AI side. We are also heavily investing on improving the programmability. And I'm proud to announce the JSON native support for SQL, which makes for you to much easier to deal with the changing schema and storing semi-structured data in your SQL Server. Thank you. One of the SKUs which is very popular with the developers is the serverless one, because it can give you instantaneous scale up and scale down, all the way to up to 80 cores. One of the feedback that we got was the pause time when the database is not in use at all was 1 hour, and that is too long. And now with the new improvements, we have reduced it to 15 minutes, which will further give you a much cost-performant database offer in the cloud. So let me finish my track with a beautiful story. DocuSign, who are investing in the agreement management. And it's a beautiful story for two reasons. One is that they had already built their application on top of SQL. So when it comes to AI innovation, it was much easier for them. They upgraded to hyperscale and started to write the new interfaces which were much more intelligent for you. The second reason it is a very powerful story is that they are not only using SQL, but they are also using Cosmos. And that is the power of the cloud, that the Azure is the platform, and we have made it really easy for you to connect even multiple of our own databases. And this has enabled DocuSign to deliver on their promise for simplicity and the pace at which you can get your documents signed. So with that, let me call back Shireesh on the stage to talk about what we are doing for AI when it comes to other databases. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Asad. That's a really good example. DocuSign, it's emblematic of how the modern data estate looks like, because they increasingly use more data types. And we've seen many of our customers turn to NoSQL for a variety of reasons. And for that reason, we are very proud to showcase some of our amazing innovations in our flagship NoSQL database, Cosmos DB. It enables fast, flexible app development with support for semi-structured data. So your developers can spend lesser time on index and schema management, more time on tuning the AI models. It handles and enables efficient access and styles of data with single-digit millisecond latency guarantees for reads and writes worldwide. It also has HA capabilities of up to 5 nines SLA with breakthrough RPO, RTO guarantees. For interactive, intelligent applications for varying traffic, Cosmos has a broad set of scalability options with superior elasticity. And finally, perhaps most importantly, it is a great NoSQL vector database in a serverless form factor. So thanks to all these things, we believe that developers would love to build their next generational intelligent application on Cosmos DB. Looks like they agree with us. In fact, in a recent Bloomberg Intelligent report, they've noticed that Cosmos DB is the #1 choice for CIOs when they're building their LLMs and RAG-based generative AI applications. We believe this is possible because of the speed, scalability, reliability, all baked into the system. Most importantly, it's ready-made for AI applications. So let's look into a few of the new enhancements in the vector space in Cosmos DB. We're proud that Azure Cosmos DB is the world's first fully functional NoSQL serverless database that has an expansive vector search capabilities. You know, it has DiskKNN built into it. It's right now in preview in NoSQL API. And DiskKNN is the state-of-the-art family of algorithms that can help to build fast, flexible development for vector search. And because of that, you could bring in a huge number of applications that need low latency of queries, higher query throughput, significant gains in terms of precision and recall. And we support this vector search in 2 indexes, a flat index and a quantized flat. Flat index is a great indexing capability when you want 100% accuracy. And typically, it's good when your dimensionality of vector is smaller. Quantized flat is also an exact approach. But here, the indexes are quantized. It's another word for compression. And before they put it into DiskKNN. So because of all these cool characteristics, you could basically bring all your vectors as documents in NoSQL, keep it side by side, don't have to deal with multiple operational structures. And I know this is getting a little technical here. So to basically put all this together and show how customers could use Azure Cosmos DB for practical AI applications, I'm going to call on the stage Mark Brown, who's going to show us some cool demo of how people are using Cosmos DB.
All right. Thank you, Shireesh. Hi, folks. When using applications like ChatGPT, a large language model takes the input or the prompt that you have, like a question, and then generates a response. Now, in simple scenarios, generating responses is pretty fast and doesn't consume a lot of tokens. In RAG pattern applications, when you're sending lots of data to these LLMs, they're going to consume lots of tokens, and it can generally take a long time for these types of requests to complete. However, you can make these much faster by implementing a semantic cache. This functionally short-circuits the need to generate a response for every single request by using a low latency database like Cosmos DB, which is often used to store the chat history anyway. Now let me show you the kind of difference you can see when implementing a semantic cache using Cosmos DB. Okay, so here I have a simple chat interface for a retail bike store, and typical with customer-facing applications, I'm going to type in a question that you would often see here. So let's see, I'm going to type in, what bikes do you have? So I'm going to let this run, and this is going to take a few seconds here because I'm sending data and doing a large search against my database. And here you can see, I got a fairly detailed response with lots of different bikes that came back. I want to point out, however, the number of tokens it took for the LLM to generate it was well over 2,500, and it took well over 9 seconds for that response to get generated. Now, let me show you how you can implement this easily using Cosmos DB. So let me switch over here to Visual Studio. So here I have a function that processes all the prompts and generates the completions and does my RAG pattern search. So the first thing I'm going to do is get a context window from the chat history. I'm going to vectorize that, and then I'm going to call my search products async, which is going to do a vector search against my product database. I'm then going to take the results of that RAG pattern query and then send that to OpenAI to go ahead and generate a completion, which then gets sent back to the user. So let me show you how I did this with the semantic cache. So I'm going to paste some code in here. And here you can see my first calls to this Cosmos DB service that I created, get cache async. And this takes two parameters. It takes the vectors that we generated from the user prompts in the context window, and then it's going to take a similarity score. And this similarity score helps filter even further to provide, in this high-dimensional vector space, those results from the cache which are most semantically similar to what we need for our cache response here. And I'm going to use a value of 0.08, so not going to be exact. I can ask the same question, but ask it differently, and it's going to be semantically similar. Okay, so over in my Cosmos service, I have my vector query against my cache collection here. And it's doing a few things. In the where clause here, I have my vector distance function that's going to take in all of the prompts that I use for my context window, and then pass in that similarity score so that we're filtering for a value that's greater. I'm then going to order by that vector distance function, so I get those that come back greater than that, and those at the top are going to be the most similar. And then I'm going to filter for just the top one. I just want the best result to come back from that query here. And that'll send it back to my function. So let's go back here. So I'm back in my user interface. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new user, or go select a new user here, and then I'm going to ask kind of a semantically similar question. Instead of what bikes do you have any bikes? And here you can see the result came back nearly instantaneously. Even more importantly, it took 0 tokens to generate that response. It came directly out of Cosmos DB, and it came back in less than 900 milliseconds. And this is running off my local machine. If this was running in Azure production, you're looking at 100 milliseconds for that response time to come back. So that's semantic caching. Going to drastically reduce the cost for token generation in your LLMs. And then also just make your applications much, much faster, supporting higher numbers of users and throughput. So that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mark. That's such a great demo. And this is something that we are seeing our customers do more and more of. It is increasingly possible for us to build really intelligent applications much more effectively. And we've talked a lot about scalability and performance, but it's equally important to focus on cost efficiency. And this is exactly what we've designed Dynamic Autoscale and Cosmos DB to do. It's basically enhancing the existing autoscale solutions that's already there in the system to provide better cost optimizations for varying traffic. So one of the things that we've done here is that, look, if you have accounts that have a large number of partitions in a single collection in a single region, perhaps spread across many regions, it's impossibly hard to have traffic that kind of has a consistency across all the partitions, across all regions. And the cost has been going up, and we've heard your feedback. And we basically introduced Dynamic Autoscale, which basically makes it consumptive. The traffic pattern and the cost effectively go hand in glove at this point. And we've seen our customers basically save up to around 15 to 70% in some cases, depending on the workload, a lot of cost savings here. I hope you definitely take advantage of this. I want to move on to talk a little bit about our Mongo API flavor in Cosmos DB. Azure Cosmos DB for MongoDB comes in 2 flavors. RU flavor supports version 5.0, 6.0. We also have a new version called vCore that supports version 7.0. I'd love to talk a little bit about some of the key enhancements in 7.0 version of vCore. We have now higher capacity storage limits. It supports up to 32 terabytes, 20,000 IOPS. We are extending cross-region replication on multi-sharded configuration. So you could build disaster recovery with a replication in other regions, including needs for perhaps scaling your reads. Finally, we also have a .NET Memory Connector for seamless integration with semantic kernel, making this flavor of Cosmos DB also a great choice for your vector databases. So these are all really cool enhancements in Cosmos DB. Let's take a look at how some of our customers are putting all this to good use. Toyota Motor Corporation wanted to enhance their design development process. So they embraced Cosmos DB to build a multi-agent AI system, improving efficiency, reducing the model vehicle development time. So to streamline these efforts, they leveraged generative AI applications using OpenAI, deploying a RAG pattern on their data in AI search, Azure AI search, as well as using their own internal design data. And Cosmos DB enabled efficient handling of language data, storing the conversational history and feedback, enabling them to have a great AI turnaround and improving their solution rapidly. Cosmos DB also gave them a cache response and controlled access to their internal data, providing Toyota much needed security and stability. Thanks to all these great Azure services, Toyota is now basically rapidly enhancing their trials and accelerating their mission. So such a great story here. And then we've looked quite a bit about how we are enhancing our customer scenarios in building their intelligent applications using our SQL and NoSQL solutions. And one of the things that we hang our hat on is how broader, how comprehensive our database portfolio is. We basically use that power of SQL. We've been building a lot of SQL tech for over decades, and we bring all that stuff to other database engines. And so today, I'm excited to talk to you as to how we are doing exactly that in bringing all that coolness to our flavor of PostgreSQL. So with all support for a lot of extensions, all the extensions, in fact, Azure SQL, Azure Database for PostgreSQL is a fully managed database. It has built-in AI capabilities. It is mission-critical performance and enterprise-grade security. It enables you to build the AI applications with an easy scale of storage and compute, bring in varying different workloads, no problem. It has built-in HA without you having to do any additional configuration, ensuring reliable performance. It has advanced security constructs, encryption in transit, REST, things like network isolation and all such. It has flexible pricing, such as pay-as-you-go. You could control, cost govern your resources efficiently. And finally, of course, it has built-in integration with all of the Azure AI services, enabling you to build great AI applications. And of course, when you want to build an AI application in Postgres, like any other database, it helps to have a native support to store and query them efficiently. This is where our protagonist, Diskn, makes another appearance. And this has been our theme here. We're trying to bring a great research from our Microsoft MSR friends, Microsoft research friends. We're bringing Diskn into all our databases. It's currently in preview in Postgres. Postgres has a PG vector extension. It has HNSW, IVF flat existing indexes. We're bringing Diskn into Postgres now. And with this, it enables the developers to build fast, flexible, scalable applications. Again, it's already battle-tested in some of our core products, such as Bing, Office, and many other places. It works on billions of data points. It has amazing precision recall, great latency characteristics, and as the name suggests, it works on disk, so it scales really well. Thanks to all this stuff, you really can build a classic, very state-of-the-art, modern, intelligent application in Postgres. And our announcements in the AI space for Postgres go beyond Diskn. And now generally available is this extension called Azure AI. This is a Postgres extension that we built, which enables developers to exploit, leverage the large language models such as OpenAI to generate embeddings, put them natively into the Postgres system, into Diskn and perhaps, or HNSW, we offer both, and help you build rich generative AI applications. We also have another extension called in-database embedding generation. Here, we're shipping a small language model, and we basically are making it part of the Postgres engine as a part of extension, a side proc effectively, so your developers can generate these embeddings natively. They don't have to make a remote call. They can generate these embeddings in a single-digit millisecond latency, really low latency, no tokens needed, and they're generated at a predictable cost. So there's a lot going on in our Postgres space. And to talk a lot about all this stuff, I'm going to call onto stage Claire Giordano to show how we can build a great apps on Postgres. Claire, take it away.
Thank you. Awesome. Hi, everybody. You can hear me? Yes. All right. Well, today I get to show you two performance benefits of building AI applications on Azure Database for Postgres Flexible Server. The first is creation of text embeddings, and the second is searching these text embeddings. So I'm in PG Admin, and you can see this select statement. You can see the select statement that uses the Azure Local AI extension to create embeddings with an open source E5 model. Now, Azure Local AI is in preview, and the embedding model runs locally within the Postgres server. So I'm going to go ahead and click Run on this query, so you can see the embeddings that get generated on the bottom right of the screen. Now let's go ahead and look at two different ways you can create embeddings in Azure Database for Postgres. The top function uses Azure Local AI, which I just showed you. And the bottom approach uses the Azure AI extension, which calls the remote Azure OpenAI service. Now let's do a side-by-side performance comparison of these approaches with pgbench, which is a popular tool for running benchmarks in Postgres. Now I'll kick off PG Bench to create 200 embeddings, on the left with remote Azure AI and on the right with Azure Local AI. Okay, it's running. Let's look at the results. On the left, you can see that creating embeddings remotely has an average latency of 69 milliseconds. And on the right, with Azure Local AI, the average latency is only 7 milliseconds. So Azure Local AI is over 9 times faster in this case, with much higher throughput. Now let me show you how we improve vector search performance using disk ANN indexing. Here in PG Admin, I have 2 tables called vtest disk ANN and vtest HNSW, which are each using a different vector index. Now both indexes are configured to deliver the same accuracy of search results, and HNSW is the open source state-of-the-art vector search index today. Tables are large, about 8 gig each. We just announced the preview of disk ANN, and what I'm about to show you is a sneak peek at the next version of disk ANN that we will release in the coming months. So let's switch to PG Bench. The server we're using has 32 gig of RAM, which is a pretty common scale point. And I'll kick off PG Bench with HNSW on the left and with disk ANN on the right. You can see right away that the queries of the HNSW index table on the left are not occurring nearly as fast as with disk ANN. Queries of the HNSW table are slower because the current index is too large to fit in memory. This doesn't happen with the next version of disk ANN due to its efficient storage. So let's look at the results. The HNSW average latency is over 15 seconds, while disk ANN has an average latency of only 270 milliseconds. So in this scenario, compared to HNSW, disk ANN is over 50 times faster. As we've seen, Flexible Server and Azure Database for Postgres has super performant embedding creation, and will soon have an amazingly performant vector index search with disk ANN. So Flexible Server on Azure is the best Postgres platform for building AI applications. And before Shireesh gets up here, I really want to try to take a selfie because there's one of me and a lot of you. Do you want to be in it?
Well, I'll be on it.
Okay, let's see if I can do this.
All right, let's do it.
All right. Are you there?
There you go.
Okay. I will take my laptop and head on out.
Well, thank you, Claire. Microsoft loves Postgres. Thank you. I want to end the Postgres section by talking about a customer, Sapiens. This is it's an interesting case, something that we really loved working with them. They wanted to build a next generation AI application. They want to enable their developers to build an ISV solution for helping insurance providers. So they basically embarked on to automate all the repetitive tasks. They want to ensure that they can create a multi-agent AI system to help their customers, their customers in turn, the end customers, to help them in the process of the claims processing effectively. So Sapiens took a huge bet on Azure Stack. They wanted to basically use the OpenAI, and they have created this automated solution that rapidly, effectively helped them in the claims underwriting, processing, fraud detection. In fact, they ended up creating a lot of virtual chatbots, creating a superior customer service. So thanks to Azure Cosmos DB and Azure Postgres, they've used both the databases, again, a common theme. They have managed to build a fully functioning operational application that helped their customers to serve the end customer's experience in insurance processing effectively. So that's a great example. We really love working with them. Now, this keynote has been a lot more about the importance of data, and here there's a vital part here. The integrated data estate is extremely critical. It is important because it gives you a comprehensive view of the data in helping you make better decisions. It reduces silos. It maintains quality through consistency. And Microsoft Fabric is our answer to that. It is our unified analytics platform that brings together everything around data integration, data engineering, data warehouse, data science, real-time intelligence, including Power BI, of course, business intelligence, all in one single environment. Now, this consolidation effectively streamlines the data workflows, again, reduces silos, and it enables organizations to efficiently and quickly make better decisions. So by giving a streamlined experience across all these data tasks, Microsoft Fabric enables teams to function better
collaborate better, and make data decisions easily. On that note, there's one thing that I really want you to learn about. It's mirroring in Microsoft Fabric. So mirroring in Microsoft Fabric is basically a seamless no ETL experience to integrate the data, be it from Azure Cosmos DB or Azure SQL databases. They basically bring the data and combine it with the rest of the data in Fabric. So your data is continually on a transaction boundary, basically replicated in a near real time into Microsoft Fabric's OneLake. And the storage is free of cost. Once the data is in OneLake, you can imagine a multiplicative of analytic scenarios. You could combine with the rest of the data to run Spark jobs, a data warehouse query perhaps, or generate BI reports. All of that is very easy. And I'm excited to say that this is coming to Azure SQL Managed Instance. So take your phones and take a click of this QR code. If you don't worry, we'll share all the details here, but we are excited to bring it all to Azure SQL family and the rest of the databases as well. All right, so we've talked a lot about making intelligent applications, but I want to take a quick detour here. I want to basically call on the stage Bob and Connor to show us how we make queries run faster. Bob and Connor. All right, so what we got here?
Well, yeah, let Connor tell you, man.
So every year we come up and do a bit where we make fun of your sports teams and all of that. So this year the Cowboys are not a very good joke. So we decided that instead, since Bob and I are happy Texans, that you should be one too. So we're going to make you an honorary Texan.
Me a Texan.
Honorary Texan, yep. There we go, baby.
Texan.
That's right. Yeah.
Proud to be an honorary Texan.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Thanks. Connor, so it's been a while since we've kind of connected together.
It has.
I'd kind of like to know, what the heck are you doing these days?
Yeah, the simple version is I make SQL go fast.
You make SQL go fast.
My team in Austin and I focus on that.
But you're also working, I think, in the Fabric space a little bit, right?
Yeah, we're focused on trying to deliver the next version of Fabric.
Okay, well, I'd like to know a little more about that. I think I talked to you about some raw notes you put together. What does that mean in the Fabric? What are you doing?
Yeah, so overall, what we do
It's a very polished slide, Connor.
This is as polished as it gets from me, so you guys are just going to have to deal, if you know it or not.
Yeah.
Overall, Fabric is basically the same thing that you're familiar with SQL Azure or SQL Server, except that we have a scale-out version of it. So you talk to a front end that's a SQL Server, and then we run on a bunch of backends that are also SQL servers, and we can run your query faster in parallel as a result.
But this is interesting, though. So at the back end is Parquet Delta. I mean, a lot of people really are not familiar with that in OneLake.
Yeah, Parquet and Delta are open source formats that you'd probably see in Spark or similar. And you can run those here. Actually, the native format for storing your tables is Parquet and Delta in this, and we've made it run just as fast as you'd get in a regular database.
Okay, so scale out, I get that. But I know you like sometimes to work on individual queries, things that make SQL queries themselves run fast. What does that look like for your team?
Yeah, I have a bunch of people on my team working on individual improvements to the batch mode engine so they can go faster, and that's the same batch mode engine used in SQL Server and SQL Azure. So whenever we fix something there, it benefits all the different flavors of SQL.
That's awesome. What does that look like? Show me some examples of stuff your team's done.
Yeah, sure. So these are functions that we've made about 70% faster on SQL Server that have gone in recently and will be in the next version of the product with a bunch more stuff that I can't show you today that we've already also been working on that will also land.
This is really cool because these look like functions I would just use in a lot of different types of scenarios running my queries. But listen, man, you're known for geeking out. When you talk about batch mode itself, I kind of get that concept. But at the lower levels, what are you doing?
Yeah, I spend a lot of time looking at assembly language and talking to people about how their processors work. So a lot of the work we do is to figure out how do we go and tweak out the very last inch of performance out of this that we can. So most of that work started during the pandemic when we were all stuck at home doing sourdough bread and exercise bikes. I was teaching myself vector assembly and programming. So for those of you that don't know, vector assembly is you can get one instruction to do n things or n rows at a time instead of one row at a time. So I did all the work for AVX 512, which went into SQL Server 2022, and now it benefits our cloud products as well.
What does that look like? If you want to geek out on AVX, what the heck?
Yeah, so this is a picture that gives you a sense of what it looks like at the low level. So if you're running this bar chart that you can see here, the original would be the regular scalar assembly, and it would run in this case in 18 seconds for this test. And then if you move to the different versions of AVX or the different SIMD implementations, you can see the AVX 512 goes in half a second instead. So it's sometimes 10, 20 times faster.
That's pretty cool. Now, Connor, you challenged me Bob, I don't expect you to know AVX. Because batch mode should just work in the product, and scale it should just work, right?
Yeah, this just works.
Okay, but you're working on Fabric and batch mode. So what I did is I built and recorded this demonstration. I used the Fabric.
Oh, cool.
I actually mirrored, Connor, a 1 terabyte database, just kind of get myself started, 1 terabyte, right? And I mirrored it inside Fabric from SQL. It's OLTP based, so it's order based. So I get a familiar interface of just looking at orders, but you told me I could scale out. So I'm going to take kind of like an analytic query on OLTP and run it in the Fabric. And I'm like, okay, Connor, you said you could scale out and make it run fast, so I'm going to try it. I don't know, what do you think?
I think it's going to be pretty fast.
We'll see.
That's what I do, Bob.
I know, okay, let's find out. Okay, when I first ran it, I'm like, how quick? 8 seconds, that's not bad. So in 8 seconds, 1 terabyte in the Fabric, and what I did is I just mirrored the SQL to offload the SQL workload that I've got at OLTP.
Yeah, so what you did is basically create Parquet files, which are compressed and ready to go.
That's what it's using then?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm using the scale out you have, Parquet behind the scenes, and batch mode at the same time.
Yes.
Okay, but you said that batch mode works in SQL, so I had to challenge myself. I went to the SQL side, and I'm proving to you real quick, Connor, here, that I really did have this kind of data. So this is 1 terabyte in my Azure SQL database that I have here. And again, this is like OLTP based, right? Orders based.
Yeah.
So I'm going to show you some row counts I have here from the orders table. You can see here, I don't know, it's like 100 and, I forgot all the zeros here, 196 million orders. We have new orders like 58 million. So I'm doing aggregation on that. I just wanted to prove that batch mode worked just as fast. So I'm just going to take the same query and run it. And if I run it, you can see here, it kind of takes the same amount of time, but I look at plans in SQL all the time.
Yeah.
And I wanted to prove myself I'm using batch mode. So you said, Bob, look at the plan and you can do it. So, okay, how do I see that? So in the execution plan, I hovered over, and it's a clustered scan. But there's the batch mode.
Yeah. So even on B trees, you can actually do cluster scans in regular SQL Server and SQL Azure, and then we can convert it to batch mode, run things efficiently. So every time you do a filter or an aggregation in any of these, as long as it's running in batch mode, you're using that magic that I just showed you.
So I don't have to know AVX512. I don't even have to know batch mode. You just decide.
If you know AVX512, send me a resume. We can help.
Okay, all right. Pretty good, Connor. I love that. So I'm looking, I mirror my data to SQL. I get that same experience. I get fast on Parquet, but I also can do fast query processing with batch mode in Azure Database as well. Pretty cool stuff. Yeah. Shireesh, what do you think?
Amazing, folks. A lot goes into making SQL Server run at top speed. And I was just wondering what, in fact, Connor was doing all these days. And if you were wondering, we're going to end this keynote without Bob and Connor's show. They were wrong.
Yeah. Thanks,
well, thank you, Bob and Connor.
Thanks.
Thank you. I want to close this conversation by reiterating how complex the modern data estate has become. So much of data piling in day in, day out. With AI applications, new applications that are being built, it's easy. It's practically super easy to feel lost. Our job is to help you get back on track and help you chase the future. But we are just the guides here. You are the real heroes. Together, you harness your power to innovate, to help each other, and to uplift one another. It is this spirit of togetherness that helps this community to go forward. So today, it's been an honor for me to represent Microsoft and give you all the cool things that we've been working on to help you chase the future. So on behalf of my awesome team, I'd like to take a moment to appreciate your time today. Thank you for being here, and thanks for making PASS such a great event. There's still some really cool number of sessions at Microsoft. Make sure that you watch them, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of the time here at PASS Summit. Thank you all.